Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. It's currently October, which means it's fall, which means it is the perfect season, the perfect time to read some cozy romances. I have a bunch of books, a bunch of recommendations that will be perfect if you're in the mood for some cozy reads, some small town reads, romances that are set in the fall that have a really good sense of family or community. There might be a bed and breakfast in a couple of these books, as well as a fall festival or two. I think these are all going to be perfect if you want some good cozy vibes or if you want books to cozy up to. But before I get into the book recommendations, I do have a sponsor for today's video. Today's video is sponsored by Likewise. Likewise is an app that gives you personalized recommendations for books, movies, TV shows, and even podcasts. But if you're on my channel, you are probably here for the books, and Likewise is really great if you want to look for book recommendations. If you've ever finished a book and you don't know what to read next, or you want to find some similar books, some similar authors to the book that you just finished, Likewise would be a really great app to try because it's so personalized. It's totally free to download, and once you do, you can pick and choose your favorite genres to read, your favorite subgenres to read. They'll show you a list of books and you can choose the ones that you've read and loved, and based on what you choose, both on the genre and the books, they will personalize your recommendations. So when I downloaded the app, they asked me for what genres that I like to read, and obviously I choose romance, and then I picked some Helen Hoang books, Talia Hibbert, and based on that, they ended up recommending me Jasmine Guillory, who is on my TBR. What's really great is that Likewise gives you new personalized recommendations every day on the Today tab. I do have a link in my description for you to download the app. A big thank you to Likewise for sponsoring this video. And now for some of my own recommendations for fall romance reads. The first one on my list is a fairly new release. I just read it a few weeks ago and really enjoyed it. It is The Inn on Sweetbriar Lane by Jeannie Chin. This is a small town romance read. Most of what I'm recommending are going to be small town romances just because those give me the coziest vibes. And this is also perfect to read in the fall because it actually takes place during the fall. The heroine June owns a bed and breakfast, and the hero, who is an ex-soldier, he has recently just moved into town in order to open up a bar. They are new neighbors and they do not get along at first. There's also an actual pumpkin festival in this book, which was really fun, and Clay and June are now forced to work together in order to bring in business and also to make the festival as successful as possible. It's a really sweet romance, lots of great banter. The community is a little bit different than your typical small town just because there are some people who are not that happy about Clay opening up this bar, but obviously there are a lot of people who are more welcoming than them, and June's family is also really great to read. They're super sweet and supportive, and they do push Clay and June together because everyone can see that they're meant to be. It's just a really great, solid small town romance. My next recommendation is Just a Heartbeat Away by Cara Bastone. This is another new to me author that I read this year, and I really enjoyed this one. It is another small town romance. It's got an age gap and a widowed single dad hero. First, just look at this cover. It is so perfect for the fall. The trees, the leaves, the guys wearing flannel, and there's a freaking dog on the cover. So this book is a slow burn small town romance, emphasis on the slow burn. It is also friends to lovers. Sebastian, the hero, is a recent widow, and Via is his young son's former teacher. She helped him a lot when his wife had just passed away, and now they reunite a couple years later. Sebastian is trying to get back out there, get back into the dating game, trying to build a new life for himself and his son, and Via has a boyfriend, so there's not much that happens romantically, at least not at first. It's a slow burn friends to lovers romance. They become really great friends, really fantastic, supportive friends in the first half of the book. There's lots of longing, lots of pining, but things don't pick up until the second half of the book. It's just a really sweet and emotional read. The hero is a total cinnamon roll. He's a sweetheart. I just love the way that Sebastian was with his family, with his son, with Via, and even with his new dog. Next, I can't really talk about slow burn without including the queen of slow burn herself, Mariana Zapata. I have to recommend her newest release, All Roads Lead Here, though I could probably recommend a bunch of her other books, but this one feels the most fall to me. This one just feels the most perfect to read during the fall, mainly for the outdoor outdoorsy aspect, like the camping and the nature that happens in this book. So it's another small town romance with a single dad hero, though his son is a little bit older than the previous recommendation. It's a small town set in the mountains. It's got some good forced proximity, with Rhodes being Aurora's new temporary landlord. He is a very grumpy hero. It's got some good grumpy sunshine vibes. It gets a little emotional with Aurora trying to reconnect with her late mother by moving to this town where her mother grew up in. And I mean, if you've read Mariana Zapata before, you know her books are very slow burn, but the build-up between Rhodes and Aurora is just so wonderful and really great to read. My next recommendation is It Happened One Autumn by Lisa Kleypas. I mean, what's more perfect to read during the fall than a book, than a romance with the word autumn in the title. This is a historical romance by a classic author of the subgenre. It is technically book 2 in the Wallflower series. Each book is about a different season, and this one is of course fall, autumn. It reads fine as a standalone though. It's Lillian and Marcus's book, Our Enemies to Lovers couple. It's a wonderful opposites attract romance between like a straight-laced proper hero and a very wild child, reckless and fierce heroine. She's an American heiress and he is from one of the most prestigious aristocratic families. There's so much great banter here. Lillian is like the only woman, the only person who's able to make Marcus just feel so much. She brings out all this passion in him and it's so romantic to read. I'm also recommending a book that is set in Martha's Vineyard, which is kind of a perfect place to be during the fall. This is Like Lovers Do by Tracy Livesey. It's friends to lovers with a fake dating trope. Nicole and Ben are really great friends and they decide to do this whole fake dating thing in order to help each other out. Nicole is this accomplished surgeon, but because of this intern who abuses his privilege, she's in trouble of losing this fellowship that she wants, but thanks to Ben's family, she might be able to get it back. For our hero, Ben needs Nicole's help by pretending to be his girlfriend while they're on a trip in Martha's Vineyard in order to get this ex of his off his back. So they spend this wonderful week in Martha's Vineyard pretending to be this loving, adoring couple, and feelings actually start to develop. It's a really great read. I love the romance. The characters are well written, they're strong. I also loved Nicole and her friends, her best friends. There's a really strong female friendship in this book. It's just a really wonderful, slow-paced, friends to lovers romance. I'm pretty sure I've recommended this next book on my channel before, but I have to recommend it again because it's just too perfect for the fall. It's Bittersweet by Sarina Bowen. There's a freaking farm in this book. It's set in a farm in Vermont. The hero and his family own this farm. They grow and harvest apples, and their specialty is making apple cider. Like, how much more perfect can you get? If this doesn't scream fall, I don't know what does. Our main characters, Griff and Audrey, knew each other back in college. They hooked up one time, but it never really went anything past that. But now they reunite because of their jobs. They're both struggling a little bit, but they find that they can help each other out business-wise. And of course, there's some fantastic chemistry still between them. I love these two so much. Griff is like this protective and sexy farmer. He teaches Audrey all about his farm, all about apple cider making. Griff's family is great. They're all hilarious, and the romance is just so charming. This is the first book in a series all about Griff's family, Griff's farm. So the entire series is kind of perfect to read for the fall, but this one, Bittersweet, is my favorite. I'm also recommending a book that many people I'm sure have already read, but I can't not include it. It is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is another book I'm choosing based off like the outdoorsy, naturey stuff. It's set in Alaska and it kind of will make you want to visit Alaska. The heroine, Kala, who is very much a city girl, a pampered girl, she moves to this rural small town in Alaska to get to know her father a bit more, her estranged father. It is a huge change moving from Toronto to the middle of nowhere, Alaska, but it kind of helps that there is this really hot, grumpy pilot. Jonah is the hero and he's just so perfect for Kala. It's very much opposites attract. They don't get along at first. Jonah thinks that she is too much of a city girl to be able to stay in Alaska, or at least make it for the short amount of time that she's there. Their romance is so good, but I also love like the family aspect in this book too. It gets super emotional. I might have cried at the end of this book. I love the community, the secondary characters, the people in their town. A lot of people love this book and it is so deserved. And the last recommendation that I have is a recent release, The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, and this is the one paranormal romance on this list. It's a witch romance. It's kind of perfect to read in October with the witches, the magic. There's also a ghost. It takes place in the fall. There is this fall festival going on Halloween. The romance is super lighthearted and fun. We have a second chance romance between two witches. 9 years ago, Reese broke Vivian's heart and she placed a curse on him. So now that he's temporarily returned to her small town, there have been quite a few accidents involving him. Vivian didn't really mean to curse him, but they both work together to try to undo this curse. If you love movies like Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town, this book is gonna be perfect for you. There's a lot of fun witchy magic in it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And again, there's this whole fall fair in this small town. Those are all my recommendations to read for the fall season. Lots of small town cozy romances, so hopefully you find something to enjoy. If you do want some more recommendations, I have a video from last year. I made another fall romance recs video, so you can go check that out. But all the books that I mentioned today will be down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!